Hi, this is the Coaching Game, and tonight I have a very special guest, Anette Rosenzweig. I've been practicing for the last 60 seconds that I got, and she won't tell me whether I'm getting it wrong.
It is perfect.
Is it sort of like that? Annette is a fantastic coach that I met, gosh, was it 10 years ago? It was
almost, yes.
Almost, yeah, when she had first come to New York City, and I'm catching her on her way back to Denmark for new adventures. And I said, you have to come. And she's in love with the coaching game, so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And this show is based on the fantastic Points of View coaching game. And usually what I do is have my guests pick a card and we make that the theme of the show. But Miss Annette wants to be brave and pick the card on air. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll explain as so. What card speaks to you? Pick a card and that will be what we talk about.
No, I think that that's part of the game, right?
It is.
And that's part of what I want to do more. I want to play more games and have more fun. So
reflection. Okay. So the card that she chose is reflection. And I always thought that these two were fighting, but that could be a possibility, or it could just be they're baffled by one another. But the card has on it, not only does it have a caption, but on this end it has a number, which is, I believe, 82.
Don't ask me, I don't have my glasses on.
Well, we'll just play this blind.
Okay.
So we're going to put all the other cards away, and we're going to talk about reflection and where that fits in our lives today. So what's the first thing? Well, I'm stumbling through and looking for the, because each card corresponds to a story and coaching quotes and coaching questions. So, I mean, you could just pick a card and keep going forever. Yes, I did it. So the story and the quotes and the questions. So what comes to mind when you drew reflection? Was it like, oh no, or was it, that makes so much sense?
No, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that in everything we do, there's too much speed. We're doing too much. We don't have that time for reflection.
Definitely.
And when you take, I take my time. I know with my clients, I'm very good with my clients and the time. But then I forget it sometimes in the rest of my life. And it just happened to me the other day that I was talking to somebody that's really dear to me, and he was saying something that was really important, and I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening. And then I got home. I woke up the next morning, and I thought, that was really like, there was something happened to him there because I didn't listen to him. So I called and said, I'm sorry, but that reflection.
You confessed. I
did.
It.
I mean, I did.
Oh
I did because it was important to me to. It was just. I don't think I've ever done that in my life before.
Really?
Gone back on a. No, because I'm always right.
Oh, I forgot that. But yes,
no,
okay.
no, I'm not. But so that using your reflections for something purposefully with other people.
Even during when they're talking, there was an exercise, and I can't remember where I was a part of a group, and it was like a group of 4 people were listening to one person talk, and you were supposed to, when your minds shifted, you would just raise your hand. And it was amazing. Nobody was listening to anything, and eventually the person talking just went. It was like, so we do reflect constantly, constantly, and that could be. And I guess what I hear you saying is it's like a double-edged sword. I mean, it's good to reflect, and it's good to let your clients reflect, but sometimes you're in your own mind so much and you forget to listen.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And that reflection back is so important because that's how we connect. Right? I mean, we connect with like energy and looking at each other, but we don't connect if we don't reflect on what other people say.
Exactly. Did you mea culpa? Did you go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I wasn't listening? Really?
I did. I first wrote a text saying, I'm really sorry, and that person actually said to me, I can't remember what you're talking about.
Oh gosh.
And then we met in person, and I reminded him of what it was that I thought of. And then he remembered, and then then all of a sudden there was a different conversation.
Wow! So the lesson was really for you.
It was for me.
Yeah. He could have lived without knowing,
yes,
because you obviously pulled off that you were talking to him.
I didn't, but I think we're all so used to not being listen to.
Yeah, well, I think that's the secret of coaching. It's like, and I remember I said something once. It's like, wow, it's amazing that people will pay just to have you listen to them. And I went, well, psychiatrists have been onto this for years, you know. Yeah. But you're right. Everybody's so busy, and everybody's trying to fit what you're saying into what they're saying, or what they're thinking. That it's, and I think that's the magic of these cards. It's like no matter what crazy card you pick, your mind can wrap itself around it, and it goes in the direction that you've been thinking. Yeah, so it's
or you pick something that relates to that, like. Laurie and I, we did this game, a couple of weeks back, and I got a card with a one-way sign on it.
Yes.
I can't remember what that card is, but that was, maybe it was strength or force or something like that.
Right.
And
I think it was part of the punctum, so it didn't have a word. It was just we were doing, because punctum is like, I don't want to say the baby sister of this, but it's another game designed to bring right brain and left brain thinking together. But I think you got, that was one of your things, the one-way direction.
But I kept on thinking, oh, I want to relate that to what I'm doing right now, so I'm doing the right thing because I'm going the right way.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's not really how I think I want to use this game, because there's a way to be more flexible. It's not like, I don't feel it's not a game where the card gives you the word that's meant for now.
Magic answer.
Right, the magic.
Oh, I see. That's how I promote it. No.
Well, I
magic cards.
No, they are magic cards but that's the magic because you can be so flexible with them. And you can look at them in so many different ways.
Well, tell me because recently you've made a huge decision, and I alluded to that when I said I caught her on the way back home. Where did reflection, what role did that play in I know heavy duty, but what role did that play in you making this big decision?
It was, I think that my surface level reflection just didn't get me there. It wasn't before I started feeling things. We started imagining things, thinking what would that be like if that was possible, if I did that? What would happen to me? And it felt good. It felt like, even if it made me completely stressed out, and I'm leaving some business here, I'm leaving a lot of wonderful people that I love, that I won't be able to see every day or often. Colleagues, all great, a lot of good stuff. And I know many Danes will say to me, I get to Copenhagen, they're like, you left New York to come to Copenhagen? What are you, crazy? But that's my heart is there. So I think that reflection, it takes a time, and you have to sometimes be provoked into it. But if you allow yourself the time to really feel things, you get to more of who you are and what is necessary for you at a certain time.
That's interesting, because my goal is, and I think it's an unattainable goal, but I'm going to keep trying anyway, is I want to be so aware. I don't want to reflect back and go, oh, I missed this opportunity, or oh, I could have done that so much better. But I guess that's that's a step to awareness, by reflection. It's like, oh, okay, let's review what you did and see the good parts, and then see what you could have done better.
I think for many things I've been always very good and successful at just powering through without reflecting on it.
Oh, me too. I'll tell you in a minute, I am not a thinker, I'm a doer, and if I screw it up, I'll fix it, but and this whole NLP thing where you think about how you think, it's like, oh no, it's too much for me. So, so do you see that as a good thing? I mean, you've done some amazing things.
I feel more comfortable now with my own thinking. And my own reflection.
To get used to my head, yes.
And we're all different. So I came to New York first time when I was 18. I'd seen an ad in a newspaper for a job as a nanny in New York. And I didn't want to be a nanny, but
when did you get to New York?
Well, they both worked at the UN, the couple.
Nice.
Yes,
okay.
And there was a TV in the room. And that to me somehow, I thought, that's great. That's
sold.
I'm sold. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But I remember sitting in the plane coming in over JFK and thinking, what have I done to myself? like, what did you just do? Like,
where am I?
Like, am I? I didn't come from a family that really had any, wealth, so I couldn't just leave again if I wanted to, or, it wasn't like, I had to sign a contract, and it's very serious, so I had to be there for at least a year, and all this stuff. I took it very seriously. So that was my first really big powering through. I don't want to do that kind of stuff anymore, because afterwards you get a little tired.
I hope with age comes wisdom.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. And I think if you start with reflection, maybe more wisdom will show up. I'm hoping.
But then I'm always afraid that, okay, I'm going to miss the opportunity. I guess I know I'm an opportunist, and I don't use that in a negative way, because it's like, send something my way and I'm going to take it and I'm going to go with it, whatever it is. But I'm always afraid that, okay, if I'm sitting in my room staring at the wall reflecting, I'm going to miss all these great opportunities. So get out there and jump in there and do what you can. So again, I mean, it's, I guess, negative and positive forces.
Yeah, and I think also it depends on what it is. Is it a small thing? Is it a medium-sized issue, or is it really something big and life-changing?
Yes.
And for the life-changing issues, I do recommend a
little
reflection.
A little bit of thought.
I think you do that too, also, though. It's like
yes, especially at 18, it's like, okay, it's a year out of your life, you can move along. But as you get older, it's like, I don't know.
I don't reflect a whole lot about, like, do you want to go and see a movie?
Yeah.
I'll just say yes.
Or no, yeah.
I say yes, most things actually. But other things, I think.
What's interesting with the card, because he seems to be in quite a conundrum here, and she, and this I find is the only time I do reflect, is the ocean. And she's just staring into the ocean, and it just sort of puts it all in perspective. It's like, oh, you thought that was a big problem? Not really. In comparison to life, it's
That's
like,
true.
not really. So I'm not sure what his problem is, but he's working on it.
He's reflecting differently, I guess.
Right, and it's interesting they have their backs, but I don't know. Do you think reflection is a solitary activity? Can it only be done, or can be done with a group or with an?
I think I reflect all the time I talk. I'm very open, so I talk with everybody that I know all the time. I mean, a lot. So that helps me to think.
Okay.
I think so. If thinking and reflection sort of the same thing. Yes, or I will. No, I mean, I'm getting better at asking other people also what they think about something. But most of my deep reflection is by myself.
Is it? Yeah, because I find most of my problem solving, I usually bounce off people, and it's like, oh, that makes sense. And then, now I don't ask for their advice, but while I'm talking, it'll come to me. But, and like I said, like the plague, I avoid just sitting alone and thinking. My goal has been since January 1, it was one of my New Year's resolutions to meditate. One time I've done that, and we're well into the year here. So
so what was that? What was it? Why did you make that resolution? What was it going to do for you?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, you know what? I attribute meditation to getting me to New York City many years ago, because I think it was just. It calmed me down, and it focused, and it centered. And I just feel like recently I'm in the land of overwhelm. There's so much going on, and I'm having a great time, but it's like I have no time, and it's just run here, run there, and I think I'm missing things. Again, that's my big fear, missing things. So it's like you need to just focus and reflect, and it's, and it's like, and I really said, 5 minutes, that's all I need. I don't have 5 minutes. I mean, that's insane. That's just called avoidance.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe you have to go to the ocean instead.
I am. I'm headed down there. I'm headed down there shortly, and yes, that might do it. Let's see what quotes they have. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, let me take my glasses.
Oh, I'll read to you.
All right, okay.
You look lovely, and I'll read to you.
All right.
Okay, I've already got mine on. When you understand that the world is your mirror, you focus your camera lens inward rather than outward and observe. Nobody knows who said that, but let's see. When you understand that the world is your mirror, I like that.
I like that, too. I did some amazing training Thursday and Friday. At the theater, TAI they called, Theater Actors Institute something, called Power Communication, and a lot of it was about connecting with an audience, which is really hard to speak to a whole audience and figure out how do you create that connection.
with everyone. Is
Yeah.
that a goal, or do you just try to connect to a few?
The goal, if you have a very large audience, of course you can't connect with all of them, but you need to connect with at least some of them. So we trained this connection. And this was a group of 10 people that I didn't know. I mean, we didn't know each other. This whole, like, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to use your energy and have that mirror back to me so that I can tell that I'm saying something, you're really engaged. And this, we forth and back and forth and back. And then they had us do it again. And I really felt that mirroring. Like, and the second day when we've gotten used to each other and practiced a lot, we just got used to, we did exercises like having to tell a story, and then you could only give one phrase to each person that was there.
Okay.
So but you couldn't leave them unless you had created that connection, and then you continued around. And it was just wonderful having that sort of mirroring effect, because all of a sudden I felt energized. Like all of a sudden I wasn't scared. I was like, yeah, give me more.
I can take it. Tell me.
Yeah. Yes.
That is so interesting, because one of my, I don't know, it's not a pet peeve. I will say it's a real quandary for me. People who, you can see when people are glazing over, you can see when people are not interested in what you're saying, and yet people who will power through, like you say, but just continue. And it's like you can tell you've lost the entire group. You've lost, and yet they're not getting the pickup. And I don't know what the purpose of the communication is if no one's listening. Why do you keep talking?
Right. But then there's no check. I mean, most of us do that when we're stressed, right? Because it all becomes about us.
That's it. Yeah.
Right? I can't focus on you if I'm so insecure and feeling so terrible that there's no way I can keep on looking at you. I better
go around and then but these are they looking?
Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Or they haven't done any training.
They need a coach.
They do need
That's
a coach.
the story. Yeah,
that is a story.
I love the mirror idea, though. That of course, so reflection. It's not only reflection of a mirror. I got it. Oh my! Do you believe I just got it? The reflection of a mirror. Yes. Not only are you inwardly reflecting, but you're also reflecting the response to what you're saying. There's someone said, if you're not getting the response you want, you're not saying it right.
Right.
So it's got to be, so it really not only, so there's two reflections.
That's a great
That's a great quote.
Yeah,
I'm so bad at that, and thank God this one was unknown, because I never remember who said it. I just remember the quote.
Yeah, but
I'll give myself credit on that.
I forget the quote also. So somebody said something that was really good and important.
Yeah, it's like I know it's important, but I don't know what it was. So not only is it an inward reflection, and I guess that's what coaches do an awful lot. It's like, let me hear what you're saying, and then not only do I hear you saying, I love my job, I hear hesitation in your voice, and I hear, whatever's going on. So it's whatever the communication is, it's getting reflected back to you.
And also mirroring the, what was said. I heard that you just said, and sometimes it's a little over the top. It's like, Laurie, like, yeah.
I do a lot of mentor coaching, and that they must tell them this is the first thing you have to do. What I heard you say was,
I know. That's like the worst phrase, but
yes.
But it feels really good. And a lot of times, I think, even like the story I've told you before, in the beginning of this person I was talking to, couldn't even remember that he had said something to me that was important. So then when I told him, you told me something important, then all of a sudden he was engaged. He was trusting me in a different way. Right. So the rest of our conversation that second time around was much better, because now he knew that I was listening.
Well, that's interesting, because you were inwardly reflecting on God knows what, probably what are we having for dinner, and then you were outwardly reflecting. And I don't know, you can't put a value on either, because both are valuable. But yeah, interesting lesson, and I'm amazed that you called him on, that called and confessed the whole thing. So when you made this big decision to go back to Denmark, it was more of it was a little seed that started, and then it was like, okay, let's see how it feels. Is that what you did?
Yeah, I was playing with the idea of, like, what if I called my parents and said, what would happen then, that kind of thing.
How would they react? Yeah.
So again, it was also mirroring with my environment. It's also that I went into the world, and then I got married, and then my husband had different jobs around the world, and every time we moved because of his job. And I wasn't always wasn't a great choice every time for me because I got uprooted every time. And,
with the kids.
Yeah, and I learned a lot, and it's been, great journey. On the other hand, sometimes I could have been a little more comfortable, I think, just being at home. So this time around, I have a choice. I can choose something.
Isn't that amazing that you realized that?
Yeah.
Because
I probably had a choice all along the way.
You did.
But I didn't feel it it didn't seem like a choice to me.
Well, you're also there's also some pivotal things going on because your house is going to be, you're taking
and
all the kids are on their way somewhere.
So there's a lot of stuff going on.
This is a choice this time, and it's an Anette choice as opposed to a family choice.
Yeah.
So
I tend to want to think it as a family choice also, but we have some little disagreements on it'll fall into place. I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure it will. Everyone will adapt eventually.
Yeah.
Interesting, because yes, that was my childhood. It was like chaotic, and I moved every year. I think I went to 18 schools before I actually graduated. Yeah, and it was like, which was great. I got to learn there's a whole world out there, but it was like, the longing for stability, So then, but stability's boring. So So what I did was choose stability in New York City, where you can't get bored. So it's like, okay, this is I'll take that. It's a little compromise.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I might be back. I mean, I might.
I hope you'll be back.
I'll be back for work, but who knows what's going to happen.
Well, speaking of work, tell us a little bit about the Nordic group. What is that? Because I keep getting great advertisements for you, and speak proud and say it loud. And it sounds good. What are you doing?
We do a number of different things. We do leadership development and team coaching. So that's our sort of core business. But after working in many very male-dominated industries with a lot of men for over a year, we got a little bored. We're like, where are the women that we want to work with? So we started out putting a group together, just a coaching group of very senior executives that were all women in New York. And just for the fun of it, we said, can we find 12 Danish women in that category in New York? And we did.
Cool.
Yeah, there are head of research at Google.
Really?
Yeah, directors at the UN. I mean, all these amazing women. So we've been meeting since October of last year, and done events and stuff with them and for them. And it's just been really amazing. And we just all of a sudden felt there's just a different vibe when you're only with women or only with men. It's not that one is good or one is bad, but we all felt very comfortable together. So there's something going on. And then even we were hearing them, but a lot of other women often saying, if you praise, so if I say to you, Laurie, you're really great at doing this, or thank you, whatever, and then many women will say, it's nothing, or I didn't do it, and that was Terry that did that, and it's like not having your focus on your own ability and what you're really good at. So we came up with this workshop called Bragging for Women. Just to
how to do it gracefully.
Yes.
Yeah,
no, well, it's how to do it authentically, how to be really who you are, right? Instead of trying to show up always as somebody that you are not, try and show up with all you got. And then when you get women talking, first of all, we have exercises where they present other women, and they're really good at it. So it's not a question of whether they can present and whether they can, talk about it. It's when it comes to yourself. And many women have grown up in environments where they were told to be quiet and not to brag and to be second. And I'm not saying all women, but many.
No, but I'm thinking I'm American raised, and I think that was the role when I grew up. It was like I was very daring. I think when I came to New York on my own, it was like, really? You're not going to get married first? And I tried that. That was very boring. So I said, no, let me try something else. And so no, I think that's. I'm sure it's more prevalent in some cultures, but I think it's a gender thing.
I think it's a gender thing, and I think also I'm very interested in what I think of as the private space and the public space, where women have much more power in the private family environment, and women were always there. Women don't have a tradition of being politicians and bankers and all kinds of other significantly powerful roles, right? Yeah, there was a few queens here and there. I have to tell you the story. It's a great story. The other day, when they were meeting in Normandy for D-Day, there was a photo on front of the New York Times with the French president in the middle, and then there was the Danish queen next to him, and then there was Putin. And on the other side, there was Queen Elizabeth, and then there was Obama. And these two queens were sitting there with their hats on, you know, their big hats, and just kind of smiling in between these, you know, arch enemies kind of thing. Yeah. And I'm thinking, what are these women supposed to do? Like, if they want to, like, get up and start fighting, these women with their hats on are going to, like, start, like, you know, I don't know, choking them with their hats or something. I was just so upset because it's like, you take these women figureheads and put them in, who came up with
stick a hat on their head?
Who came up with the protocol for that thing? You know, like these are women that have absolutely no power. I mean, I'm sure Queen Elizabeth has some power. I'm sorry. I can't say that kind of stuff.
I don't know, you know, I think it's more heritage.
So that whole, going through a workshop like that, we do half-day workshops with some preparation exercise before and some stuff afterwards. It's really helpful. It's really helpful. We had an event a couple of weeks ago where we brought in a woman that we know is an amazing bragger and has done amazing things. Malena Belafonte, she's the daughter-in-law of Harry Belafonte.
Yes, yes, very activist.
Yeah, and this woman is all by herself, nothing related to her father-in-law, really amazing. Right. So bringing an example in also and see, you know, how can, you know, not that we can really just copy anybody else, but it's always nice to meet.
It's nice to see someone do it with finesse, absolutely. Yeah, and I know I was years ago, it was like, how do you accept a compliment? You just say thank you. Stop making excuses, stop giving the credit to someone else, just say thank you. So yeah, what a noble thing. Is that going to care? Are you going to be able to be involved in that when you go back to Denmark?
Yes. So I'm continuing that. We'll see where, you know, but yeah, Nordic Coach Group is opening an office in Copenhagen. So I'm announcing that to the world. Lena already did that, but yes, we are opening up an office in Copenhagen.
Okay, and I think we do have the it's the website underneath. Yes. That's what it is, the website that you could check that out and see what's going on. You know what, I'm liking this. I see a quote that I love, and we don't have time to talk about it, and again, it's anonymous, so I don't have to remember who, but it's, we see in others that which we hide from ourselves. And I know there's a whole exercise where if somebody's pushing your button, that means that it's bothering you about something. But we only have 30 seconds left, so we can't talk about that. But I would ask you all to reflect on reflection, because there's a whole bunch of, there's a depth there, you know, a singular and a group thing. And I just want to take this time to thank you so much. I know your schedule is so busy, and I feel like we met in the beginning, and I'm seeing you through another phase. So thank you so much for being on the coaching game and playing. I love the way you play. I love your courage.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Laurie.
It was truly an honor, and we'll have you back.
Thank you.
Thanks.